Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Day. This is Aquarius Rising. Today I'm talking about a very important topic that I know many of you are interested in, and that is that Venus is about to go retrograde in Gemini. But Venus has to do with our feelings and our values. So often relationships, money, these can be very prominent themes that Venus retrograde will cover. Venus going retrograde, the common themes are that old friends, old relationships, old lovers will all of a sudden show back up out of the blue, or in a pre-existing relationship, issues or values that you thought were all worked out will come back up to be re-experienced and renegotiated. The evolutionary intent is that we have a deeper understanding or a deeper experience of these things, so we have more growth and even more of a learning or an understanding around these areas of life. So because Venus is going retrograde in Gemini, some of the themes are that we're going to be renegotiating contracts, Gemini, renegotiating travel could be Gemini. Also, anywhere that we are organizing information and ideas, they're all coming back up for a renegotiation as Venus goes retrograde in Gemini. What I'm going to do is give an example of Venus retrograde in Gemini for each of the 12 houses of the zodiac. If you have your natal astrology chart, this is a great time. You want to grab that. If you don't, go to aquariusrising.com. You can punch in, get your free astrology chart, and follow along. If you don't have that information, you can still follow along, as there's going to be tons of information here for you to be more aware. Also, set an intention around what we value, what's really important to us, and where we want to upgrade in our lives around what we value, around our relationships, around how we're communicating with the people in our lives. So let's check this out. Explanation of Venus retrograde, if any planet is retrograde for that matter. What happens is they're going along in orbit around the sun, and at certain points they stop, what we call stationary, and then they go retrograde, and it looks like from our perspective on the earth that they're going reverse. It is an optical illusion, but that is when a planet is retrograde, it is technically what looks like in reverse. So what that planet rules, those themes in our life are being re-experienced, re-evaluated, rethought out. When Venus goes retrograde, a lot of astrologers say this is not a good time to start a new relationship. The reason why they say this is that likely it could be that this is somebody from a past life, and so it could be a karma relationship versus a soulmate relationship. Often in a karmic relationship, we have come to balance karma or learn a hard lesson. So often once Venus goes direct, you find that you do have much different values than this person, or you don't really feel the way you thought about them while Venus was retrograde. Just make sure if you do start a relationship during this Venus retrograde from May 12th to June 24th, that this is somebody that you truly have similar values with. I will mention, because Venus is going to be in Gemini, Gemini could be a twin flame type of energy. I've never met somebody personally that I know for 100% has met their twin flame. If you want to share in the comments about a twin flame experience with Venus retrograde, please share that. We would love to hear more. Take a look at the chart. Venus, this is the planet Venus. It's going retrograde on May 12th at 21 degrees Gemini. You're going to look at where you have 21 degrees Gemini in your chart. I'm going to go through examples here in a moment of each house. But what also happens the first week of May, May 5th, the nodal axis moves into the signs of Gemini and Sagittarius. They've been in Cancer and Capricorn. So that first week of May, we're getting another big shift of energy that you'll likely notice. And again, you want to look at where the nodal axis falls in your chart personally. I think with the South Node in Sagittarius, the ruler Jupiter, that Pluto-Jupiter conjunction that we're going to have two more exact hits of is going to again be very activated. Pluto, dying of the old system, and then revelations around how we need to get back in line with natural law. Also anything that has been hidden and corrupt is likely to come back up to the surface. I think we're going to have a continuation of shocking things coming out that have been hidden for a long time. Again, Uranus in Taurus, we're going to have Uranus in Taurus until 2026, but this is another symbolism of having shocking things happening that is really making us reevaluate what we value. Liberation around what we value. I go into this in much greater detail in a previous video as well. Venus is going to be retrograde until June 24th. And it will go direct at 5 degrees Gemini. So you also want to look at where you have 5 degrees Gemini in your chart. Venus going retrograde in Gemini is about trying on new perspectives. How we communicate with ourselves and others is Gemini and Mercury. If you're finding yourself in a rut, if you're feeling frustrated, we want to try on a new perspective. I'm going to give examples of what Venus going retrograde through each of the houses can really emphasize for you personally in areas that you could possibly set an intention, set an affirmation. I'm going to give examples of affirmations and intentions, but you want to obviously say something or write something out that resonates with you. This is a basic house system of the zodiac. This is the first house, which is ruled by Aries and Mars. If you have Gemini rising, Venus is likely going to be traveling through your first house. It could be your 12th or 2nd based on the degrees, but if you have Venus going through your first house, it's likely that you are rethinking, reevaluating how you're projecting yourself out into the world. Your physical appearance could change. Maybe you're changing your brand. Those are a couple common characteristics with Venus going through your first house in retrograde. Some of the affirmations that I've wrote out here are, I am assertive, I am compassionate, I am finding new ways to express myself that inspire me and others. That would be an example of something that you could write out as an affirmation or intention for Venus retrograde traveling through your first house in Gemini. Second house is about your resources, what you value. So again, are you coming up with new resources? Are you reorganizing your finances? Another big thing, and this is also just with Venus in general, is it can be our self-worth. So are you giving yourself an upgrade around your value and how important you are treating yourself? I claim my power. I am tuning into my natural talents. I am resourceful. I am self-sufficient. Those could be some wonderful affirmations, intentions for the second house. Venus retrograde Gemini traveling through your third house. This is again about communication, how you're organizing information. Are you renegotiating contracts? Are you renegotiating travel plans? Are you changing your itinerary? These are some common themes that could be likely. Also, the third house could deal with siblings and neighbors. So be careful with all of this year. It's a year that you want to be very wise about choosing which battles we want to get into. And a good affirmation for the third house: I am open to new perspectives that empower me and bring me joy. One example, working from home, when I was stopped in my tracks, I've been putting on the perspective, I'm going to finally take care of all these things and do things that I've been putting off. So trying on a new perspective, third house. Fourth house, this is all about our home environment, our emotional life. It can bring up issues with mother, father. If you're all of a sudden homeschooling now, are you renegotiating with your children and your loved ones? Some affirmations for the fourth house. I am compassionate. I am responsible for my emotional life. I am my own source of well-being and home. For the fifth house, this is our home of creativity, likely children. Again, are you having to really split between work and homeschooling right now? Are you getting your creative juices flowing again? This is all about our creativity. So A great affirmation: I am inspired by my creativity. I am tuning into my heart energy. I am an example of extraordinary love and joy for my children and loved ones or loved ones. This is common too, I will say, with a couple things with Venus going retrograde. An old love affair can get rekindled, but in an existing relationship, the love can get reignited. Another thing that a lot of astrologers say is don't buy major purchases under Venus retrograde, or if you do, just make sure you keep your receipts, because once Venus goes direct, you might decide you don't want that after all. If a new relationship starts under Venus retrograde and it's a hot and heavy love affair, often once Venus goes direct, we realize that this isn't somebody that we really want to be with. That is a common theme in Venus retrograde. Venus traveling through the sixth house. The sixth house is our work habits, our health often. If Venus is retrograde traveling here, are you reorganizing your day-to-day habits? That can be work habits as well, or are you getting back into a better workout routine? Are you going on a cleanse? Are you doing a diet? Are you doing more yoga? This is a house of healing. Some affirmations for the sixth house I wrote out. I am in the flow of healthy habits with ease and grace. I am making new habits that inspire me and support my wellness. I'm feeling balanced in my work and rest. I am creating balance in my work and rest time. Venus retrograde traveling through the seventh house, house of partnerships and relationships. Again, this is going to be an opportunity to probably visit some old relationships, will come up from the past. We're probably going to have a lot of opportunities to really listen to our partner, and importantly, with Venus traveling through the seventh house, is express to others what our needs are. Here, some affirmations I wrote out are: I am finding equality in my relationships and partnerships. I find new ways to express myself that support my needs as well as my partner's needs. Venus in retrograde in Gemini traveling through your eighth house. This is our house of joint resources, investments, and our deep psychology. So the themes could be that you're renegotiating joint investments, you're renegotiating investments, joint resources, coming up with new ways to make that business work with maybe another business, a merging of businesses could be some examples. I am getting to the bottom line of how to make it work. This is Scorpio, getting to the bottom line. Maybe you're having a deep epiphany around some old psychology that is no longer serving your higher purpose, and having some deep epiphanies of what you want to change in your own psychological pattern. Venus traveling through your ninth house. Ninth house is all about higher education, international travel. It can do with truth and our intuitive nature. So with Venus traveling through your ninth house, are you learning something new? Some affirmations I wrote out for the ninth house. I am assimilating new information. I am tuning into my intuitive nature for my highest potential. I speak my truth. The ninth house can also deal with the legal system and courts. 10th house, career is very much going to be the focus. Are you taking on more responsibilities at work or less responsibilities? Are you having to change careers at this time? Affirmations I wrote for the 10th house. I am responsible. I am capable. I am taking responsibility for my role in society. 11th house has to do with our groups of friends, communities that we might be involved with. Can be social causes. Are you getting involved in some big social cause right now? Are you really taking this social distancing, but also growing your network online? An affirmation I wrote out with the 11th house: I am connecting with people of like mind. 12th house has to do with spirituality, our subconscious, possibly where we're in service to others that are more needy or less fortunate or not well. This is a wonderful time to really start doing more meditation, yoga, really tuning into your spiritual zen. An affirmation I wrote out is, I am clearing my subconscious of any patterns that are no longer supporting my divine plan. So again, these were just quick themes and examples of the archetypes blended with Venus retrograde in Gemini going through each of the houses. I gave examples of how you can write out a personal affirmation, a personal intention, a way that you can take an empowering perspective on these times. Even though there is a dying of an old system, there is a rebirth of a new system that's being born that we are all part of co-creating. So if we stay in the driver's seat of empowerment and feeling good and using this time to come up with a new way of operating that's going to continue to help with the whole evolution of Earth and humanity. I'm going to read you a quote from Carl Jung. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. I think there'll be many opportunities to have a lot of conversations with all different types of relationships, likely some from your past. There's going to be re-experiencing of feelings, renegotiating of what we really value. Another great perspective, Dr. Joe Dispenza said recently that we are living at such an exciting time and we've all negotiated to be here. And this really is, we all get to be part of giving birth to this new era that we're entering into. So I encourage you to stay positive, stay in the driver's seat, keep a positive perspective. Even when there's a breakdown, you're on the brink of a breakthrough. Wishing you an empowered Venus in retrograde and look forward to talking with you soon.